Let's talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and its potential to come to the Nintendo Switch 2 or be announced for the system this year in 2026. In addition to a bunch of great Nintendo Switch 2 RPG news, a lot of stuff to go over, but the main thing here that we need to talk about is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and its potential, because this game took the world by storm last year. There was a lot of controversy, some of it when it comes to the borrowed gameplay mechanics, the situation between JRPGs and this Western RPG that was developed like or in the same vein battle-wise and style and flow-wise as a JRPG. The developers of this game are huge fans of Final Fantasy, Mario and Luigi, Lost Odyssey, Persona, and they kind of took a little bit of the DNA in each of these games and put it into something, then infused their own DNA when it comes to what they want to do in a game, and it created a smash hit in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But before we continue on here, check out our Nintendo Switch 2 giveaway. All you got to do to enter is subscribe to the channel if you are new and drop a comment below. I will be picking one lucky winner at random once we hit 150,000 subscribers. And I'm also giving away a $50 eShop card by the end of this month, and we'll have new giveaways each month. So make sure you subscribe, comment down below, like the video, and thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. I would not be surprised if this game is around 7 million units plus sold or so across the Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and the PC. But there's one more platform that I truly feel that they can take advantage of in order to get significantly more sales, because while the game was popular amongst the people that played it in Japan, it was limited in sales because people just don't buy as many games on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC in Japan as they do with Nintendo platforms, and this game is currently not on there. Now, I wanted to go over one thing that Mr. Brochi had to say. He's the director of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the main guy, and I want to kind of snowball into why I think this could happen this year. So he talked about the game's success and how it was completely unexpected. Quote, "It was completely unexpected from pretty much everybody. What really surprised us the most is how much the narrative and cinematics and story resonated with people. This is the thing that's hardest to quantify because it's always something very personal. So the fact that this worked so well pretty much instantly, this was the thing where we were like, okay, this is 100 times what we were expecting." And that's exactly what happened here. When it comes to a turn-based RPG, the sales potential for a lot of them outside of Pokemon aren't anything more than like maybe 3-4+ million units or so. You don't exactly know where you're going to get. If you can get to 3 or 4 million units as a double A-ish high-end type of game from a smaller developer, 30-40 people or so, and of course they have other outside contracted work, but the main core of being that size, that would be spectacular. But they did that and even then some. They instantly sold millions upon millions, and once again, they're not on the Nintendo Switch 2, which there would be a good audience for this type of game, especially in Japan where the sales weren't as high as they could have been. Whereas I think here in the US, it's kind of maximized with the PlayStation 5 and the PC having such large platforms to be able to play. And of course, Game Pass, you have that as well. But even with Game Pass, they were able to sell quite a bit. So I think that the next step for this game would absolutely be to be on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, could we see something with the upcoming Nintendo Direct with this game? This game is partially inspired by Mario and Luigi, although they weren't able, not everybody, but although I think the main director guy, he said that he didn't get to play Nintendo much growing up, but I think that that's the natural next step for this type of game, just so you can kind of spread your wings a little bit in Japan. And of course, I think that being able to play a game like Clair Obscur anywhere that you want as a turn-based RPG, I think that'll actually get some people to play it even more or give it another shot. Maybe if they didn't like it on Xbox or PlayStation or PC, being able to play it anywhere that you want on a dedicated platform, I think that would work really well, or a hybrid platform, be it that, to where you can instantly transfer between playing handheld and also playing on the TV. I know that I really enjoy RPGs significantly more when I can play it hybrid style. I can play it on the go and I can play it on the TV as quick and simple as I would like. I know the Trails in the Sky and the Trails games in general, I played those on PlayStation and they're fantastic. They're so good and everything, but being able to play those portable in addition to the TV adds a little bit more of a dynamic to a lot of RPGs out there, especially if you want to grind or do side quests, or if you're really stuck on something, or maybe if you even want to kind of multitask a little bit. I think that RPGs are just perfect for the Nintendo Switch too. So I think that this is the year that we have something. If we don't get some type of announcement, I think there's going to be some type of leak or rumor from a credible person that states that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 will be coming over to the Nintendo Switch 2, and that would be awesome because this game is great. I already put 90 plus hours into it on the PlayStation 5, but I have no problem heading back into it with hopefully that extra DLC kind of all put in. It's free, so all put in there, and maybe even doing some New Game Plus. I already beat Simon and I already did a lot of the extra stuff in the game, but yeah, I know I'd probably play it a bit more if it was on the Nintendo Switch 2 and I can play anywhere that I want with portable play. So what do you guys think is the possibility that we see Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on the Nintendo Switch 2 announced this year, or maybe even launching this year? And I don't know if it's going to launch this year, but I do think that something, when it comes to a rumor, when it comes to a leak, when it comes to something, an announcement, I think that that could happen this year with this game. There's just too many people that have the Switch 2 and consistently growing in install base plus this type of game to keep it off of there. So what do you guys think? You can let me know in the comment section below. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing here, and we're going to talk about what is happening with Monolith Soft, because they are continuing to hire for this mystery JRPG that they've been working on now for, I'm guesstimating, about 3 to 4 years at this point. So over on Twitter, shout out to Stealth for clipping this part here, and he says that Monolith Soft is actively recruiting for 2D designers. Quote, "This role handles artwork for all things that appear in the game, such as characters, backgrounds, mechs, small items, and more. From concept art that defines the world to illustrations used in promotions, they cover a wide range. Their ideal candidate is someone who can handle a wide variety of genres." So this is something that Monolith Soft does as they get closer and closer to their goal of releasing whatever they're going to have. They're going to bring on new people that can take on the extra work. Monolith Soft is one of those beacons in gaming. It's one of those developers that other developers around, whether it's other Japanese developers or even Western developers, call them to say, wait a minute, how have you been able to handle everything that you guys do at the pace that you guys do, with the quality that you do it, while also handling all these other things and not having crazy turnover or not having issues overall with payroll or other things? And you're one of the best developers to work with. People love working for Monolith Soft overall, whether it's men or women or anybody, and they also get great benefits and they get their time off, and it seems like crunch is non-existent or not really much of a thing at Monolith Soft. So Monolith Soft has actually advised other developers how they have their corporate structure and how they do things, because even before Nintendo purchased them, Monolith Soft was a lot smaller than they are now, but their ideals, their goals, what they stand for, that was intact. As soon as they left Square Enix and that situation that was there, Takahashi and crew had a certain ideal way that they wanted to be ran, coming off of the issues that they had at Square Enix at that time, and some of the issues that they had working with Bandai Namco when it comes to Xenosaga, although I do think that it was way better, at least their time and what they did when they were with Bandai Namco as a collaboration, than when they were within Square Enix and they kind of splintered off. So I do think that with this new hire and with all the other new hires that they're doing, expect something absolutely spectacular. We know that it's coming. I think that Nintendo doesn't like to wait too long, as I've stated many times in my Monolith Soft videos whenever we go over information. They don't want to wait too long before they show off the next Monolith Soft game. Monolith Soft games are always there, not only for the big hardcore RPG fans that are out there, but it's also a showcase to what the system can do. They've been doing this now since the Nintendo Wii, and even a little bit before that, if you look at what they did with Baten Kaitos and also Soma Bringer, that was also Monolith Soft. So they're a pretty good showcase for any platform that they're on, but they proved that they can do things that no other developer could even dream of doing, or it'd be very difficult to do when it comes to the Wii with Xenoblade, the Wii U with Xenoblade Chronicles X, and the Nintendo Switch 1 with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, while also building together one of the best support studios of all time for Nintendo's major games, and even playing a bigger role in The Legend of Zelda after working on it on a number of those titles for a decade plus when it comes to the 3DS and also the Nintendo Wii, and of course the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch, kind of working on the geography and what they do with the open world. They definitively made The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom better games, and many Zelda games. So their expertise and who they hire and how they train and what they do is tier 1 in the industry. So I'm super excited to see what they're doing next. People are talking about, could it be a Xenoblade? Could it be a Xenosaga? I talked about how did Nintendo purchase Xenosaga from Bandai Namco, or is there some type of deal in place? And it might not be the case with that completely, but I'm just not sure. If you look at what happened with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, and you see kind of how Bandai Namco is doing nothing, and some of the people, I guess that other people that own the artwork or own the characters per se, are doing nothing with the character, it just seems like it's ripe for the picking for someone to kind of swoop in, almost like a Bayonetta style situation, and say, okay, you don't want to do anything with it? We will. And that we being Nintendo when it comes down to it. So, man, I just think that there's just something that's coming. There's something that's coming when it potentially comes to Xenosaga, and of course there is something that's coming that we know confirmed when it comes to their next major JRPG that's going to be different, at least based off of what Monolith Soft says, than what they did before. So we'll see what happens there. But what do you guys think about Monolith Soft continuing to add to their already formidable team of developers to get new games going? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, we've got a little bit of an update when it comes to Japan and the digital sales numbers in December, Japan only. This is something that we don't get numbers specific wise, so I can't tell you, oh, Kirby Air Riders sold 500,000 units in Japan when it comes to digital sales. I can't say that, but what we can do is that we can look at the Famitsu sales, which we get every single week. I cover it on this channel pretty much every single week when it comes to live streams or edited videos. Then we can kind of see the positional charts for certain games, and we can say, okay, looking at a 20-30% digital buy-in ratio that Nintendo normally has in Japan, we can kind of guesstimate how well a game is doing digitally. And the game that we have to talk about here is Kirby Air Riders. This game, not only is it a top title physical in Japan, pretty much being in the top 10 ever since it came out, and multiple times being above that, it's also the #1 top selling digital game in Japan for the Nintendo Switch 2. Kirby Air Riders has been, I think, a breakout success for the Japanese market, more than maybe even what some people were expecting. Now, of course, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, that was huge. That sold incredible pretty much everywhere. But I think Kirby is even more popular now at this point, especially if you have a spin-off side racing game that's selling nearly 500,000 units physical in Japan so far at this point, should hit 500,000 within the next week or so. And then on top of that, it's the #1 best-selling digital game on the eShop in December. Remember, it did come out in November. It did not come out in December. So that's definitely a good thing. That's what you want to see with a game like Kirby. And to be honest, man, I'm super happy for Sakurai. There was a lot of talk whether this game was even needed with Mario Kart World coming out. Why would they work on this instead of Super Smash Brothers? There was a lot of stuff there, but I think that giving the fans something that's probably never going to happen again and giving them one last hurrah with this type of game is super cool. There's a lot of big hitters here between Momotaro and Pokemon Legends ZA, Mario Kart World, Octopath Traveler, Hyrule Warriors, Metroid Prime 4, Dragon Quest, Donkey Kong Bonanza. A lot of great games in the first 6 months of the Nintendo Switch 2's life. But December, Kirby taking the crown here over some pretty big games. So it's absolutely awesome to see that Kirby Air Riders is just doing so great at this point and has a pretty big, sizable base of people that are going to love the game in Japan. Now, I can't say it's doing as well in the West. I don't see it on the top of the sales charts as much, or NPDs, or more like Circana and the European sales charts. It's definitely fallen off a lot of the big ones, although it's hanging around in some areas. But in Japan, Kirby is crazy at this point. They're doing Kirby Mania. So I definitely think that that next big Kirby 3D platformer is going to be massive in Japan, just based off of these results right here. But what do you guys think when it comes to Kirby Air Riders taking the top Japanese spot when it comes to December eShop digital sales? Let me know in the comment section below. And now we are going to move on to the final topic here, and that is going to be Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. This is a game that I'm super excited about. I played the demo on the Nintendo Switch 2. Runs nice, looks nice, plays great, story's fun, gameplay's fun. Reminds me of Super Mario RPG, but just Dragon Quest in a type of way. And it's just a blast to play through. It's great to look at. The characters look stupid, but I think that the doll aesthetic really highlights the personality and character and the quirkiness of each of these characters. And I like what they're doing here. Now, the producer of Dragon Quest VII, Mr. Takashi, he talked about this as well, and some of the changes that they made to the story. Quote, "The original is a series of short stories. To make the narrative easier to follow, we reordered some of these episodes. Others were changed into an optional experience, allowing players to tackle them in the order they choose. However, we didn't just move elements around, we redesigned the scenario from scratch to find the optimum form for the storyline. To balance any cuts, we added completely new scenarios and backstory episodes to provide more depth to the characters. We worked closely with the series creator, Mr. Yuji Horii, on every individual story to ensure we were on the right track." And after playing the opening demo and actually maxing out everything, I maxed out my character's proficiency, I maxed out the level that they'd even give me on the demo at 15. I think I put around 14 to 15 hours into it. I trust what they've done because this is the most excited that I've been for a Dragon Quest game in a long time, since Dragon Quest, I think, 8. I love Dragon Quest 11. I like Dragon Quest 9. I like other Dragon Quest games, but to me, this feels the best to play so far, and I did not expect that. So very excited to see how these stories are kind of reimagined and put together in this type of game. And it's coming out early February as well, so it's going to be a blast to play through. The demo does transfer over to the full game, so if you haven't picked up that demo yet, I highly recommend it. Go download it on whatever platform you like, and it transfers over. It plays great on the Nintendo Switch 2 in 60 FPS and nice resolution. You can play it anywhere that you want, of course, having that portable play for grinding and having the TV play. Plus, there's a plethora of quality of life options if you want more gold, less experience, more experience. Monsters hit harder, they hit less, normal. It's all in there. Very nice and neat overall. So what do you guys think about the slew of RPG and Nintendo Switch 2 news that we went over here? I thought it was a lot of fun. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.